Hey guys, so today's video is on how to improve your units in the Alchemist Code. So in the Alchemist Code, to reach your units, go to the menu and just press Units. This will bring up a menu with all the units you have, and then you can simply select the unit you want to improve and click on them. So there's a number of different things here that influence a unit's power. The first and most important thing is probably the stars they have, as this is the amount of potential a unit has. So most units that you get will start off at about 3 stars. And some of them, like Michael, will have 2 empty stars, meaning they get all the way to the maximum of 5 stars. However, others, like Strauss, will only have 1 empty star, or even no empty stars. Does Leon have no empty stars? No, he's 1 empty star. So having no empty stars means they can never move past 3 stars. And this is important because a unit's maximum level is decided by 2 things: the amount of times they've been limit broken and the amount of stars they have. So my Elizabeth here has been limit broken 5 times. So if you press limit break, you can use Elizabeth soul shards or water soul shards or rainbow shards to limit break a unit. And every time you limit break them, their maximum level as well as the combo stat will increase by 1 to a maximum of 25 limit breaks at 5 star, which increases the maximum level by 25. 5 stars can also go up to level 60 just at base. So if I go over to any of my base 5 stars like Shayna, you can see that she has no limit breaks and her maximum level is 60. So being unable to move past 3 star means the maximum level a unit can get is only 3 full sets of 5 limit breaks. So if I just find a random 3 star here, you can see that I can only limit break my Mizuki here 3 times until I evolve him once, as well as the maximum level for a 3 star, which is level 30. And you can see my Mizuki has a max level 42 because he has been limit broken 12 times on top of the base level of 30 for a 3 star unit, which means that a 3 star will cap out at level 45. Which is pretty low. The story gets you like level 55 just on its own. So 3 stars will actually be left behind fairly early, and you'll need to evolve them through the use of the evolve button and having the various evolved materials that you can farm from the events, as well as a bit of Zenny, and they also have to reach their max level. And this is not the max level including limit breaks, this is just the current max level for your unit. So for a 4 star, you can evolve them once they hit level 50. Now, apart from the star level and the number of limit breaks, the other 2 important parts of upgrading your units are your gear, which you can get from the gacha. It gives you various pieces of gear. We get one gear gacha every week or 2 weeks that you can roll once for 300 gems, and you can roll it again for 900 and again for 1500 after that. So equipping gear and then upgrading the gear on them is a good way to get various bonus stats. For example, the teddy bear here, the curious doll, gives you luck, all the different elemental resistances, as well as jewels obtained. The poison rod increases your magical attack, and my knight's gauntlet here increases physical attack, physical defense, and daze resistance. So gear is a good supplement to a unit's stats, but the biggest way to improve a unit's stats is their job. So all the equipment that you get from the equipment tickets that you get from farming levels, those are not gear, those are equipment, and they go in these 6 slots. And these 6 slots are predetermined based on the job. So for a chronomancer that's job level 4, they need a skull rod, a wool scarf, a traveler's key, maracas, a leather cape, and a mace. And so if I click on it here, it shows that I have 23 skull rods, and a skull rod requires the unit to be level 15 to equip. My Elizabeth here is level 49, so that's totally fine. I can equip a skull rod. And for the maracas, it shows I don't own any maracas. However, they can be fused using a stick, a blue feather, and a vest. And that means I can craft the maracas, and now I own 1 maracas, and I'll equip it. And if you own all 6 pieces and you can equip them all because your unit has the level, you can simply press job level up. It'll show you the items you're going to be using. You press OK, and it levels your unit up automatically to the next job level. And every time you increase a unit's job level, all the stats from the items, for example, the skull rod's 12 magic attack, you gain these automatically once you equip them. So if I have 160 magic attack here on my Elizabeth, If I equip a skull rod, I go up to 172. And these stats are absorbed. All these items are absorbed into your unit, so you keep all the stats you gained whenever you job level up. So are there any other things here that increase my magic attack? No, there aren't. So if I job level up, my magic attack will stay at 172 despite losing the skull rod. So I'll press job level up again. And you can see my magic attack still 172, and I also gained all the stats from the other items I used. So job level up is the biggest way to improve a unit's stats. Not only its stats, but it also allows you to gain access to new abilities for the unit. For example, I just gained the Time Leap passive ability for Elizabeth by getting to Chronomancer job level 6. And I think you'll need job level 6 to unlock all abilities for a unit. The Master ability is slightly different. You need to go through a quest for most units to do that, and they also need to be at, I believe, level 80, which means you have to limit break them 4 times to get their Master ability. So to show you just how big a job level up stats can get, because job level up stats get huge around job level 9. So instead of showing you my max level Ryle right away, let's go to Almira here, who's job level 9. The Hunting Cape that Almira can equip gives her 16 physical attack, 12 crit, 2 agility, and 1 thunder resistance. 16 physical attack is almost 10% of my total physical attack right there. And the Sacred Lion Blade is 20 physical attack, which is 10% of Almira's current total physical attack. Adding both of these will increase her physical attack by something like 15% just for this one job level. And then she also gets physical defense, lock agility crit, dexterity, which increases her damage as a bow user, more luck, more hit points, as well as resistances. And then you do that all again at job level 10 to get to job level 11, and once you get job level 11, you can do it all again to master the job. And you can also, this is also when you want to start enhancing your equipment, because if you enhance your equipment, for anyone that's already seen it, there's an enhance equipment button here. If you do that before you get to job level 11, you will not get the bonus stats in the equipment. Don't think you should be 5-starring your equipment every time before upgrading it. That's just a waste of Zenny, because you don't get the bonus stats. You only get the base stats of the equipment when you job level up. But once you get to the max job level and you enhance your equipment, you get a bunch of bonus stats for enhancing it. For example, Ryle here got half of all the stats again, except for wind resistance for upgrading his dragon scale quiver. Same with his dragon halberd. It'll be the same with Celested Robe once I get that last level into it. And it's really just a huge boost to your overall stats to do that. My Ryle's only got 2 more job levels over my Almira, but his stats are almost double my Almira's just because of how much more powerful having all these equipments are. Gear, I've already gone over it, but don't worry too much about gear. Most units will have some pieces of gear they'd like to have, but gear is not absolutely essential to the game. You'll do better in the arena if you have gear, obviously, but you don't really need to worry about gear when you're going through the story. Just slap any piece of gear you get from your first roll in the gear gacha onto your units that they can use, and identify the best pieces and slowly upgrade those through the gear tab. Apart from that, you also can use the Enhanced Unit tab to level up your unit. This is what you use apples for. Please don't sell your apples. Apples are very important for leveling your units. Once you get past, I'd say, even like level 10 or 15, your level, thanks to the milestones, will start to scale up way faster than your units will, and most of your units will be left in the dust if you don't use apples on them, which means you won't be able to level them up, you won't be able to evolve them if they don't start at 5-star, because they won't have the levels required, and you won't be able to equip these items because most of the top level items have job level requirements of 50 or higher. Apart from that, the last thing for enhancing units is the Abilities tab. Abilities is your unit's skills. For my Ryle, for example, I have maxed out his hunting skill, which allows him to use Arrow Rain, which is a very powerful AoE attack. I have also maxed out his Deep Focus skill, which increases his attack and his hit rate, so his accuracy, for missile attack types, which as a ranger, he uses. I haven't bothered with the Hide Trap yet, as I'm going to replace that once I limit break him to Twin Blade Swordsman with that reactive. And that's another important thing about units. You can mix and match their basic and passive skills. The only skill that's fixed for a job is the non-basic skill for that job. So for Ranger, it's hunting. If I go over to my Retzius here, you can see his ability setup is pretty much all Twin Blade. with the Feral Kid ability, which is from Beastmaster. So if I go over here, I can choose from Stance of the Warrior, which is from his Soldier job, or Perfect Evasion, which is from his Twin Blade job. I haven't got the Beast Tamer job to level 6 yet because I don't need to, so I can't choose the Beast Tamer reactive yet. So I can just throw in Perfect Evasion. It already has Feral Kid as a level 2 Beast Tamer, but I can throw in Power Up, and I can replace Feral Kid with Feint from Twin Blade. So a lot of units aren't necessarily S-ranked because they have one good job. They're S-ranked because they have multiple good jobs. Magnus, for example, despite being a very powerful ranged unit with his Machinist job, falls off just like most ranged units do. However, he remains S-ranked because Machinist is a very powerful ranged job, and his Ninja job allows him to get extra movement and mobility, and his Gunner job allows him to choose between Long Shot and Shot Mastery, as well as the other two Machinist passives, to really help him stay relevant even after the Machinist has kind of been outscaled in terms of damage. Another example would be Maracas, who, despite only having the Mage and not the Sage job like Feng Lui does, will eventually get a job plus for a Mage job, and also has the Thief job, which allows her to give the Move +1 passive to her Mage job. This gives her a movement of 3 over the normal 2 movement of a Mage, which is a huge upgrade. So the job combinations your units have are also another factor in the power of a unit, and that can be accessed through the Ability Setup tab. Anyways, that's really how you power up your units in Alchemist Code. You just make sure to keep their job level of the units you want to use current. Make sure to limit break them if you can, although I would suggest against using Rainbow or Elemental Soul Shards on most non-limited units, as you want to save those for units that would cost a lot of money to whale for. We will eventually be able to farm Soul Shards for the normal units such as Ryle and Magnus, so don't worry too much about it. Make sure their evolution level keeps up so that you can continue to level them. Units that cannot level past 3-star are considered pretty much useless, and even units that only go to 4-star are fairly useless, as you are missing out on a bunch of potential levels and power. Make sure that you don't really need to worry too much about gear, but try to at least have one piece of gear equipped just for the free stats it gives. Make sure to keep the abilities of a unit you want to use leveled up, as abilities add a bunch of power, and don't forget that you can mix and match the various abilities from the various jobs that a unit has. Anyways guys, thanks for watching, subscribe if you like it, and have a good one.